Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I'm here to talk about Cesar Almeida versus Dylan Budka. My prediction for this fight is Dylan Budka wins. I think he's the first guy to exploit the gaping hole in the ship of Cesar Almeida, and he's the one that makes him look like a limited kickboxer, which is what he is. But he did show in his last fight on the Contender Series that he's becoming more than just a kickboxer, and he knows what the full mount is, I guess. But no, I still think he's bound to be exploited by a more well-rounded fighter and a better grappler. And I think Dylan Budka is that guy. I think he's got the wrestling, which is what you really need to even have a shot at exploiting the ground game in the first place. And Dylan Budka's got it. On the feet, though, he's at a distinct disadvantage. Cesar Almeida is the much better kickboxer. He is a world-class kickboxer, I guess I'd say. I don't know his fucking record. I just know he fought Alex Pereira 3 times, went 1-2 against him, and I've seen at least one of those fights. And they all went the distance, all 3 of those fights. So, if nothing else, you know he is tough as all fuck, Cesar Almeida, on top of being a very good kickboxer. He's definitely not as dangerous as Alex Pereira, but he will try hard. Looks like everybody tries hard compared to Alex Pereira, but he will give it a go and try to make the most of his kickboxing. He's more aggressive and will mix in more wild shit, even though I expect that to slow down at the UFC level. But he's definitely a guy with a distinct advantage on the feet in most matchups, and that's the same with this fight here. But Dylan is not a stranger to throwing down on the feet. He's a competent striker, and he's a guy that has never been knocked out. He's never been knocked out. He's got 2 losses, one by decision in a 5-round fight in the for the LFA championship. This guy Bakoyev beat him in a very close fight where he knocked down Bakoyev a few times, but then was ripped to the mat and controlled a little bit in the second half of the fight. And in the end, it was very close 5th round. Could have gone either way, but he lost the decision. And then his other loss was in his debut, and it was a rear naked choke in round 3. And he was dominating the fight up until he ran out of gas. The fight turned on a dime, and then the guy took him down and mounted and submitted him. I guess back mounted him and submitted him. But I would like to think he learned a big lesson from that fight and worked on his cardio, because that was a complete failure of his cardio there. And you know what? Based on his last fight against Chad Hankum, or whatever his name is, I'd say, yeah, he's patched up that hole in his ship, and his cardio is looking pretty damn good. Because he took that fight on short notice, and he had a hard time with the guy early, being taken down himself. But then he turned things around by the end of round 1 and took over the fight. And he was definitely the last man standing, as I like to say. So he's got a lot going for him, but really the grappling is what he's got going for him the best here. I think he's a really good wrestler, taking down just about every opponent of his, aside from the guys he's floored in 2 seconds, which is a few of those, maybe on the amateur scene or whatever, but he's definitely shut some lights out. But he's a beast of a grappler, a good wrestling and good top game, and I expect that to be the difference maker here. I don't know if he'll be able to go through Cesar Almeida on the ground and put him away. I would like to think he's more intent on controlling him at first and just making it more of a ground fight. But I do think if it is a ground fight, finish possibilities will open up down the stretch. Still, the pick for me is Dylan Budka wins a decision. I just think Cesar Almeida showed enough scrappiness and enough whatever, the ground game in his last win on the Contender Series over the guy Lucas Fernando, where I could see Dylan Budka's grappling still being the difference maker, but really being used to slow the fight down and contain and neutralize the big, strong kickboxer in Cesar Almeida. So I guess I'll go with decision as my official pick, but I bet on Dylan Budka at minus 155. And I'll wait to see the props. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.